What's up, besties and homies? It's your girl Ayesha checking in, back with another video. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Strong Friends Check-In Podcast. So I just want to check in for a few minutes to talk about the Currys because this is a hot topic. And to be honest with you, I actually didn't want to talk about it because sometimes, quite frankly, it's just irritating to see some of the craziness that's happening in our community, and especially with folks who are as affluent as the Currys. I mean, come on, you literally have everything, and that's not good enough. So let me just get right to the point, okay? Because I don't want to make this video too long, and I've spoken on this issue several times, not the Currys, but I talk about the marriage covenant all the time and the difference between a marriage covenant and a legal contract. But I want to share my thoughts about Ayesha because, of course, she is completely out of order. But Ayesha is out of order because her marriage is out of order. See, this is the age-old story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. I posted several episodes. It's a series about marriage. I've actually deleted those episodes because I'm going to repost them later. For some strange reason, they didn't do too well. They didn't get too many views. And so I'm going to wait and repost them. I'll probably edit them and repost them. But a lot of valuable information in those episodes. But anyway, age-old story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. God blesses husband with talent and resources. Husband and wife build a family together. Wife reaps the benefits of her husband's blessings, but can't resist the temptations of the world. In other words, she's losing the battle of her mind. You see, the battle of the mind is the spiritual warfare for control of a person's thoughts, where the enemy, which we refer to as Satan or the serpent, and God's spirit struggle for influence over the mind. But what role does Steph Curry play in his marriage, and what role should he have played? You see, in my opinion, Steph's marriage is out of order and on life support because he did not fully understand his role as a man and more specifically as a husband. The husband in a marriage covenant or under a marriage covenant should not only be the head of his household for tax purposes, okay? The husband should be the head of his wife. And I know ladies don't like to hear that because, see, that's the world we live in. See, that's the trick of the serpent, right? The serpent tells us that people have to feed our egos and that we should be the center of the universe. But see, that doesn't work in a marriage covenant. See, we see a pattern of Black men choosing liberal women to marry and or birth their offspring and not getting the respect that they deserve. Now, I know people will say Ayesha wasn't liberal. She was a wholesome girl. Was she really? Apparently not. What is her political stance? What is her political affiliation? How does she vote? Which politicians does she support? Which policies does she support? More importantly, I'd ask the same of Steph Curry. Now, I haven't done the research, but what I do know is that Black folks want to talk about everything but the most important thing, and that's traditional marriage and family. Strong families are the prerequisite for a strong community. You can't have a strong community without strong families. So let's get into it. I'm going to make this really quick. Let me make my case. What are the tenets of a liberal society? Number one, abortion. Abortion ends the vitality of a man's legacy. Number two, radical feminism. There are two main premises or fallacies of radical feminism. Number one, women can do everything a man can do and vice versa. Number two, women can and should lead. Those are the two premises or fallacies of radical feminism. I'm going to repeat that. Radical feminism says that women can do everything a man can do and vice versa. It also says that women can and should lead. How's that working for us? The third tenet of liberal society: gender neutrality. Gender neutrality says that there's no distinction between male or female. Under this tenet, some people believe that biological men should become personal slaves for women who want to be men. Under this tenet, some people believe that biological women should become baby factories or birthing people for men who want to be women. This way of thinking devalues men and women and the biological roles that they play to maintain divine order and a healthy ecosystem. And the last tenet of a liberal society is moral neutrality. Moral neutrality says that there's no distinction between good or bad. Now, to establish and sustain a marriage covenant, I'm not talking about legal marriage. I'm not talking about the marriage that Black women deem to be superior to God's covenant. See, Black American women are always talking about that legal document, the government. Black American women think that not all, but most, and that's based on the way y'all vote and your conversations. You're all over social media talking about legal marriage. All you talk about is legal marriage. You never talk about, or hardly ever talk about, the marriage covenant. If two people say that they're married, but they don't have that piece of paper from the government, Black women automatically say, oh, they're not really married. That's a fake marriage. So two people can have a ceremony. They can make their vows before God, but that's not good enough for the liberal Black American women in this society, because in their minds, it's not a real marriage unless the government puts its stamp on it. So that tells you where people's thinking lies as it relates to marriage. That tells you the prevailing perspective or paradigm about marriage in the Black community, specifically among Black American women. Okay? But according to God, marriage according to God, to establish and sustain or maintain a marriage covenant, there has to be divine order. There must be divine order. And that divine order is God, Christ. And listen, don't get into the semantics, okay? Some people believe in Christ and some don't. If you don't believe in Christ, then just remove Christ from that and just say God and skip down to husband. But I say God, Christ, husband, wife, and if they have children, children. That is the divine order. Because the husband is the covering for the rest of the family. The husband is like the umbrella. God is the big umbrella. The husband is right under God. And he is the cover for everyone else. He is the protector and the provider. And a man cannot protect you if you are out of order. A man cannot protect a woman who's out of order. And apparently Ayesha Curry does not want protection. She wants to be in the streets. She's losing the battle of her mind. Okay? This liberal way of thinking devalues men and women and the biological roles that they play to maintain divine order and a healthy ecosystem. Liberal politics are a direct threat to the human race. Liberal agendas and the devices used to push those agendas are a direct attack on the human race. They disrupt the ecosystem by undermining traditional marriage and family, and Black men need to stop marrying and reproducing with liberal women. That is my message. Know that you're worthy. Know that you're loved. Please like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, it's your girl, Ayesha, signing off.